Hi, how you doing? I know, this isn't the wrecking video, but it's genuinely taking ages, and I want to make an actual video again, since my channel's been dead for 2 months, and I thought it'd be nice to talk about the 2017 My Little Pony movie. We've touched on it, most notably in the Tempest video I made a bit ago, but here I want to have a more broad look at the movie in general, and what it does right and wrong, mostly the latter. I'm going to start by going through the story, and as we're going through I might briefly mention things I don't think make sense or are, to put it simply, bad, and then once it's done, I'll do an analysis on some of the bigger problems it has, and maybe how I can improve it. Hope that works for you, and without further ado, let's get into the My Little Pony movie. The movie opens in Canterlot, where ponies from across Sequestria have gathered for the very first Friendship Festival. It's meant to be a big public statement of everything Twilight Sparkle stands for as Princess of Friendship. Twilight, as is consistent to her character, is spiraling and worrying that things are going to go wrong. She has a pretty cool idea and goes to the princesses about it. When Twilight asks Celestia, Luna and Cadence to help by moving the sun and the moon for the festival's big concert, they gently shut her down. Their magic has a purpose, they say, and Twilight already has everything she needs. Which, yeah, I don't really have a problem with that. The Friendship Festival should be handled by the Princess of Friendship, and due to this responsibility, the pressure understandably gets to Twilight. Her friends rally around her, insisting that she's got this, and the festival preparations roll forward. Each of the main six falls into their familiar roles. Rainbow clears the skies, Pinkie builds spectacle, Fluttershy rehearses her choir, Applejack handles supplies, and Rarity perfects the aesthetics. Their confidence in Twilight culminates in the song We Got This Together, a big, upbeat reassurance that friendship will carry them through. The pretty average song that sets the mood for the world and the characters. Since, as I will talk about probably later, the film caters for a new audience in a way that the normal show doesn't. This atmosphere doesn't last for long though. Almost immediately after, the celebration is interrupted by a dark storm cloud forming above Canterlot. A massive airship descends and the Storm King's forces make their entrance. Here's when you start to realize the weird 2D animation / PS2 3D graphic style really doesn't look the best. This isn't my biggest gripe with the film, as the character animation is still excellent in this film. Obviously it's not Flash and it's visibly different from the normal show, but not in a bad way. But the environments and ships and things do look pretty bad, and they clash quite visibly with the animation. Anyway, the Storm King's lieutenant, Tempest Shadow, confronts the princesses and demands the surrender of their magic. When they refuse, the invasion begins. The Storm Guards overrun the city, and Tempest petrifies Celestia, Luna, and Cadence into statues. It's a broken record for the show at this point, but really? The princesses get shut down that easily? There wasn't any resistance at all there, and it almost hinted that there would be, but no. Twilight nearly suffers the same fate, saved only by Rainbow Dash at the last second, because of course she is. In the chaos, Twilight destroys the bridge of Canterlot and sends herself and her friends plunging into the river below. Canterlot falls, the princess is captured, and Sequestria is seemingly completely taken over, immediately. Definitely a dramatic opening. Having escaped, Twilight had overheard Celestia's final instruction to Luna, to flee south and seek help from the Queen of the Hippos. It gets explained later, I assume you've watched the film. It's just setting up something that will be paid off later, because yeah. Interpreting this as their only lead, Twilight decides they'll go themselves. Leaving Sequestria entirely is risky and frightening, but the group agrees. They don't really have a better plan. Which yeah, it is exciting. We haven't really seen outside of Sequestria in the show, so on the first watch, I'd imagine most people are pretty excited by what this may bring. But also, this whole thing is just a fetch quest. This is another thing I'll probably touch on later after the summary maybe, but damn, did they really waste the movie with that story, man. In the conquered city, the Storm King reveals his intentions. He wants to combine magic of all 4 Alicorn princesses to fully empower his star, blah blah blah, and he promises Tempest that once Sequestria is his, he'll restore her broken horn. Tempest accepts, even as it becomes clear that Twilight's escape complicates the timetable. Also, can I just say, the film was the first thing to introduce a new throne room design for Canterlot, and I absolutely hate it. It's so much worse, and after the movie, they don't revert back to the old one. This is entirely a personal gripe, but let's say it doesn't positively contribute to my perception of the movie. The main six's journey takes them through a vast desert to Klugetown, a grimy marketplace city where everything is for sale. They're quickly targeted by opportunistic locals, only to be rescued by Kappa, a streetwise cat who scares everyone off by pretending the ponies are carrying a deadly disease. Kappa offers to guide them, claiming he knows how to get them to the Queen of the Hippos, and Twilight reluctantly agrees. Kappa feels like a very forced character. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. He fits into one of the main character types you get in films, and it's just boring. Also, I get they're not in Equestria, but for me, he just does not look like he belongs in the world of My Little Pony. Kappa is charming but unreliable, and it's revealed that he's in debt to the local crime boss, Verko. While the ponies bond with Kappa and show him genuine kindness, he ultimately betrays them, attempting to sell them to clear his debt. They escape yet again, chased through the city in a frantic sequence that ends with them stowing away on another airship. This ship belongs to Captain Solano and her crew, a group of parrot delivery workers pressed into a service under the Storm King's rule. They're bitter, fearful, and uninterested in heroics. While Twilight asks for help reaching Mount Ares, Solano refuses outright. Helping others is what got her crew enslaved in the first place. Rainbow Dash, of course, takes this personally. Through the song Time to Be Awesome, Rainbow reminds the crew of who they used to be: sky pirates, adventurers, free flyers. Inspired, the crew mutineers against their own fear and recommits to being, well, awesome. This is one of the 2 songs I actually remember from the film, so I guess that speaks a bit about it, and it's not that bad, I guess. The pirates are pretty okay as well. They don't feel particularly deep, but are okay. Again though, their air flying ship thing does have that jarring 3D style. The celebration is short-lived, however, as Rainbow Dash in the heat of the moment performed a sonic rainbow against Twilight's wishes. Tempest sees this and pursues. The pirates hide the main 6 in a hatch below deck. When it looks like negotiations between Tempest and the pirates aren't going well, Twilight opens the hatch and forces the group to abandon ship mid-flight, improvising a hot air balloon to escape. Tempest finds their map and knows they were on board, and destroys Solano's ship as punishment for lying. At last, the main 6 reaches Mount Ares, only to find it's abandoned and in ruins. Their hope collapses almost instantly until they discover an underwater kingdom hidden below. The hippogriffs, it turns out, survived by transforming themselves into sea ponies using a magical powerful pearl. The queen, Novo, is deeply protective and unwilling to risk her people for the sake of a distant land already lost. This is where Twilight does something really weird that contributes again to a problem I'll talk about later after the summary. Convinced that friendship, trust, and cooperation aren't enough, Twilight tries to steal the pearl in secret. For a brief moment, it looks like the rest of the party might change Novo's mind with friendship, but Twilight is caught mid-theft. Enraged and hurt, Novo banishes the ponies from Sequestria. On the shore outside Mount Ares, the main 6 confront Twilight. The argument that follows is the most emotionally charged conflict the group has ever had. Twilight insists that their usual way of solving problems doesn't work anymore. Pinky argues that Twilight doesn't trust them at all. In frustration and fear, Twilight says she's better off without friends. What? Like what? This makes no sense, I swear. Who actually wrote this? The group splits, devastated. Twilight is immediately captured by Tempest, who takes her back to Cancelot. Along the way, Tempest reveals her backstory, which is actually interesting. Once a unicorn filly with friends, she lost her horn in an accident, leaving her magic unstable and her isolated. Friendship failed her, so she stopped believing in it entirely. Back in Cancelot, the Storm King arrives and drains the magic of all 4 Alicon princesses, crowning himself ruler of Equestria. Tempest demands the restoration of her horn, but the Storm King reveals the truth. She was always expendable, and he betrays her. Yeah. Meanwhile, Twilight's friends regroup, realizing they abandoned her when she needed them most. They race back to Cancelot, joined by Kappa and Captain Solano's crew, and Princess Skystar, who defies her mother to help. They infiltrate the city disguised as a cake delivery, and the final battle begins. As chaos erupts, Twilight saves Tempest from the Storm King, despite everything she's done. This single act shatters Tempest's worldview. When the Storm King attacks again, Tempest sacrifices herself to stop him, turning both of them to stone. The Storm King falls and shatters, defeated. Twilight uses the star to restore the princesses, free Cancelot and undo the damage. The Friendship Festival resumes and the world returns to normal. Tempest survives, accepts Twilight's offer of friendship, and reveals her true name, Bizzlepop Berry Twist. Which I guess is nice at the end of the day. Oh, and we get Sia, for some reason, at the end as Songbird Serenade, whose song is the only other one I remember from this film. Yeah. So, that's a wrap. Yeah, so that was the story breakdown. Now let's have a closer look at some of the points that I think really ruin this film. First of which, being a byproduct of the medium. So obviously, the My Little Pony movie is a movie. About a multi-season show that has a diverse group of developed characters, but is a show that is decently niche. By that I mean, most people who watch the show would already know the characters by this point, 2017. However, A feature film with a theatrical run normally has a much wider audience, with kids' parents and even completely new viewers likely watching it. This meant they had to simplify many characters to just their bare attributes, making them feel flat. Another factor that contributes to this flat feeling is the fact that this is just one 100-minute long film. Each of the main 6 can't really be shown in a developed way in that time, not just because of the new audience. Even if everyone watching knew all the characters well, there's still no way they could do this in a film. So, since the film still insists on being a group adventure, there ends up basically being 2 main characters, Twilight, and then the rest of the main 6 as one group. While yes, a few of them might do stuff every now and then, Dashi's Rainbow as an example, for the most part, functionally, the rest of the main 6 are one character, which obviously just makes watching them feel flat and uninteresting. But that's just our legacy characters. What about the new ones? Well, the new characters in this film for the most part feel aggressively bland. Kappa especially so. I get the feeling he's supposed to be like the Chris Pratt of this film, the at first morally questionable but by the end cool guy that helps our main characters. But damn does he feel boring and forced, especially since his design really doesn't go with the show, at least to me. I know it's outside of Equestria and all, but like, come on, this does not look like My Little Pony. The hippogriffs and sea ponies, despite being outside of Equestria, do actually look like they fit the show. Oh my god, I actually have something positive to say about this film. But yeah, Kappa is a meh character. The pirates also, just so tropey and boring. I know this is a kids film, based on a show about magical ponies and all, but that didn't stop the show. That was the show's whole draw. Despite being a basic, simple kiddie premise, it ended up being surprisingly deep and interesting. Clearly, at the point of the movie's conception, development had changed dramatically on the show. I guess another positive thing I have to say about the film is Tempest, like her as a whole. Interesting character with a cool design, but I've already made a whole video about that, so I'm not going to go too in depth. The film's other main villain, as I said countless times, is a pathetic waste of time, doesn't fit the show, is boring, it's not intimidating, and it's just disappointing, honestly. The last problem I'm going to go over with is how stupid things happen and characters do weird things simply to move the predictable plot along. I think you know the main example I'm talking about. Why? Honestly, why does Twilight, the Princess of Friendship, decide to go entirely against the entire way of life and philosophy she's been exploring throughout the show, helping other ponies through, reformed villains, being coronated as the Princess of, and go to steal behind her friends' backs? Like, I'd understand this from Season 1 Twilight, but Season 7? Like, what are we doing, Hasbro? Have we watched our own show? Do we care? I mean, clearly not, when we think the stupid Storm King is a good villain. But yeah, this is genuinely the stupidest main cast breakup scene I've ever seen. Like, 6 friends that unite Equestria through friendship wouldn't have a falling out due to the princess's said friendship deciding that friendship doesn't work, even when her friends were actively using friendship to achieve their goal right in front of her. Oh my god, this movie is so dumb. So how would I improve this then? Well, first of all, I cut down the cast. I think having the entire main 6 being quote-unquote main characters really harms it. Instead, it should have been, say, Twilight and someone else. Or maybe they split up, which wouldn't alleviate the problem, but it would give the movie some time to show intimate interaction between characters and build some form of development for new viewers. Maybe most of the main 6 get trapped at the start as well as the princesses, and it's just Twilight and, say, Fluttershy, for instance. 2 ponies which actually don't often get episodes together in the show, and they develop their relationship across the journey before getting back with the sea ponies. Twilight not being an idiot, remembering friendship exists, and releasing their friends to fight any other villain than the Storm King. Literally any other. They could still have Tempest in the story, just make her boss an actual villain, man. Make them someone who is actually feared and maybe even mysterious, like we never actually see them. Kinda Season 2 Sombra-esque. Now, of course, this like 2 main characters thing would not cater to new viewers, but like, if they're new, they're not gonna know what they're missing. And watching the film will probably make them watch the show, then they'll like understand things. I think it's a better way to do it anyway. When it comes to stuff like Kappa and the pirates, I don't think there's much changing that unless I was to rewrite the entire story, which I cannot be asked to do for this movie. So, all I can say is like, make Kappa fit in more with the show. He can still be a cat, but make him a cat that looks like he comes from the same art style at least. The pirates do suffer less from this, I guess, so they could be the same. Oh, and also, get rid of the dumb 3D stuff. So yeah, those are my broad changes. Obviously with this, a lot of little things would change. For instance, if it was just Flutz and Twy, then Dashi wouldn't do her boom, so Tempest would have to find him some other way. But the basic changes are there. In the end, my closing statement would just have to be, movie bad. Go watch like Interstellar or something instead. It's just bad, guys. And that's it for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed. Again, I'm sorry the ranking video isn't out yet. It's taking ages, it's annoying, yada yada yada. You've heard all of it before. It will be out at some point though, I promise. I do hope you enjoyed this like kind of rant video. I thought it was fun to make. I don't know if it's any fun to watch, but it was fun to make for me. Just kind of venting about how I don't like this film and how it's kind of bad. If you have any additional or contrary points to mine, feel free to share them in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed, why not give the video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to support the channel even more, you could become a channel member. Shout out to the Red Ravioli, Creative Zone, and MyFumi for being monotonal members. And with that, till next week, fingers crossed guys, fingers crossed. Thanks for watching, I've been Monodashed, and I'll see you sometime soon.